So after playing with the striker gear set on the first day of the PTS, I decided to give it another go. I really wanted to see if this set was very viable with any of the newer content. So what I did is I actually put on the Lefty shotgun, which you guys know that they did tweak in this update. It does have the wrong skin, but the damage and everything is the same, and I'll show you that in a second. But what I wanted to do was see, would the damage be enough if I were to put more blues on the build than just having all reds to give me some type of survivability. And in this video, you'll notice it worked. And I was very surprised and very excited to see that this will probably be something that you 100% can run with a shotgun. Now, I'll tell you, that worries me a little bit because I would love strikers to be really good with other weapons. And with the shotgun, it seemed like it was the only weapon I was able to keep the stacks up. If you look at my striker, the 200 stacks were almost at full stacks the whole time. And that's when this build really shined. Like, just look how quick these enemies are dropping. They're pretty tanky, and this was on heroic, so that's what I was surprised that I was able to keep this buff going. Now, you might have noticed I am running the Lefty shotgun, and everything is the same and has been fixed for the ACS. It just has the wrong skin. So it has the 20 round mag. It has 345 RPM, and remember that's because I am running the striker set, so I'm getting that extra RPM. And also remember it has the same damage. So the damage would be the same if you looked at the ACS 12. It just has the wrong skin. And the big difference in the PTS was, since it was a 612, I was having to tap it, versus if I had an ACS 12, you guys know you could just hold it down. Now, the thing that really did stand out to me is I never used this talent, Perfect Sledgehammer. I just don't really see it viable, honestly, on anything besides maybe raid bosses, and that's about it. Like, I really don't see this talent being used when you have other talents like In Sync, you have talents like Close and Personal. There's just a lot of different talents you can really use on a shotgun that are gonna really produce more damage than this at all times versus having to throw a nade to actually proc this talent. And that's why I don't really see this talent being useful or this shotgun really being used because of the talent itself. Now, I didn't use the talent the whole time, but I did use it with the new striker rework, which weapon hits increase total weapon damage by 0.65%, stacking up to 100 times. Now remember, 2 stacks are lost per second from 0 to 50 stacks, and then 3 stacks lost per second between 50 and 100 stacks. I will tell you, the 100 stacks seem pretty easy to keep up. Now, once you get to 100 to 200, that's where the shotgun really shined, and that's where I was able to keep those stacks up almost at all times. Now, I was using the backpack talent, which is called Risk Management, so it increased my total weapon damage per stack of the Striker's Gamble from 0.65 to 1%. So just with running the backpack, I was getting 100% extra weapon damage, but I also ran the chest piece of Strikers, which also has its unique talent called Press the Advantage, increase max stacks from 100 to 200. So that means I can have up to 200% extra weapon damage. Now, stacks from 100 to 150, 4 stacks are lost per second, and then 150 to 200, 5 stacks. And that's what I was telling you guys. Keeping stacks from 100 to 200 was definitely hard. I felt like 0 to 100 was easy with most weapons, but the shotgun was the one that I was able to keep the stacks up and build the stacks pretty quick. Now, as I said before, you might notice that I am tapping based on how the rate of fire is, and that's because for some reason this weapon was still set up to be like the 612 in that regards. But besides that, the damage, the RPM, everything matched up with an ACS 12 based on the striker. So that's why the RPM was at 345 because of the striker set. So ideally, I think the ACS 12 is going to be a perfect match for the striker for building those stacks. I will say that survivability still felt like it wasn't there. And what that's going to make you have to do is, if you're going to want to build any type of survivability, you're going to end up running the Memento backpack. And what that means is you are going to lose the backpack talent. So instead of a possible 200% weapon damage, you'll be sitting at about 135% weapon damage. Now, obviously, the Memento backpack is a great piece to put on most of your builds, but that's what I would tell you. You're just going to miss out on the extra damage that you would get from if you could run the backpack and keep those full stacks. But keeping those full stacks isn't an easy thing to do. Now, with the striker set, with the ACS 12, yes, you can do it, but that's also playing aggressive. There isn't really any other weapon I think that can really hold the stacks like a shotgun, and that shouldn't be the case, right? And that's my biggest issue with this set. They give us the ability to get those high stacks, but they take them away so fast that it makes it almost unusable to use the backpack, right? But if you are running a shotgun, I'm telling you, it does work, but the survivability just isn't there. So it's gonna push a lot of players to really go towards to a backpack. And with the build, I was personally running 1.4 million armor, and I'll show you the build real quick so that way you guys can get an idea of what I was running, and you could even see in the gameplay how fast my armor was disappearing, even with 3 blues and 3 reds. If we look at the build here, you can see I have armor, crit chance on the chest. On the backpack, I have armor, crit damage, and crit chance. For the knee pads, I have armor, and then we have crit damage rolled on there. For the mask, I'm running the Coyote mask, and then we have a crit chance mod on that one. For the holster, I actually had the new named holster that gives you that 20% weapon damage, but ideally I would rather have a Badger Tough here, then I could have a core attribute of 15% plus have crit chance, crit damage on there. So a Badger Tough holster would have definitely been better than this name holster. And even with this build not being the way I wanted, only 45% crit chance, 93% crit damage, 75% headshot damage, 12% armor damage, I was still able to perform really well with it. So if I could switch out this holster right here, definitely will improve the build overall. And at 1.4 million armor, I felt this was a good balance between offense and defense. But even with all that, I just felt like it was missing survivability, right? Like I feel like it's missing either armor regen, or you might as well just run the Heartbreaker that gives you that bonus armor. And I know they want to make this a little bit different from the set in Division 1, but I just feel like it's still a shell of itself. As a DPS build, yes, it does really well, but I think for most people, they'll probably just use the chest piece talent, not run the backpack, and then just run the Memento backpack or run something else. But as of right now, I just think that the set itself definitely needs some type of survivability to compete with the likes of something like Heartbreaker, which you're getting bonus armor as you're building up those stacks. So 2 big differences in this set and the Heartbreaker set. Also, that Lefty shotgun, they got to rework the talent, to be honest. If they want anybody to really use the Lefty shotgun, I really don't see people using that, except the small percentage of people who play raids, and even then they might just run a different talent. They might have one person run it. So it's just not going to be a shotgun that a lot of people use or even use that talent. So my final conclusion on the whole thing is Striker Set isn't bad. I think it's actually very powerful if you can keep those stacks up, but that's a big if. I definitely think that shotgun, no one is going to use it. Even though the ACS 12 is a great shotgun and a lot of people use it, they're just not going to use the name version, the Lefty. And that's just facts. I just don't really see people using it. Rework that talent, make it a talent that is worth people's time and effort, because right now it's going to be one of those named items people either just pick up and throw it in their stash and they never look at it again. And I might be wrong. Maybe that one person in the raid might look at it again, but that's about it. I honestly don't see that being useful for much else. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap up the video here. Appreciate the support, appreciate the love. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, nothing but skills out. Take it easy, everybody.